about the shoot today, guys. I was actually at work.
Looking good, looking good. Hey, Facebook, how you doing out there, everybody in Facebook land? Good to have you here today. We are live here with a special guest. Very excited. The kulaBrands community has brought on a new project. This project is called GunBail. GunBail is something, it is a business that will solve a major social issue that's out there that needs the community to come behind it. Law enforcement has been overwhelmed with the problem of illegal guns for a while. And no matter what they've tried to do, no matter what has happened, it seems like there's more and more guns, and access to guns has become easier and easier, illegal guns. And so it's time for people, for a business. I'm going to introduce you to Trevor. Trevor has created a business model that will actually help law enforcement in reducing the guns that are on the street, giving them the ability, of course, to be, to be more effective, because a business model has come alongside of that in order to help. So Trevor, say hi to everybody out on Facebook.
Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Trevor Brooks.
So Trevor, can you tell us just a little bit about GunBail and the basics of what GunBail does?
Okay. GunBail is a mobile app that is free to download, and it incentivizes nonviolent offenders to willingly surrender their illegal guns in exchange for bail release. Basically, 12 million individuals are arrested every year. 75% of them cannot afford to post for financial bail. 55% of them have access to an illegal gun. GunBail is the conduit to allow them to willingly surrender that illegal gun and take it off the streets in exchange for bail release.
So one of the keys you said there is nonviolent offenders. That is correct, right? So it's people that have done minor offenses, but yet still have been arrested and have some type of bail that they need to know.
Meaning basically no assaults, no gun, no violent crimes. People with drug possession, people with auto theft, people with breaking and entering. It's a myriad of charges that can apply. Just no violent criminals.
Excellent.
We don't like to say, we say offenders.
Right. And so, Trevor, what stage right now is GunBail at? So where, so why don't you give us a little history of when you came up with GunBail and what stage it's in? Give us an idea. So I know that you've been involved in quite a few incubator contests, right? So startup contests for businesses, and you've actually done very well in winning a few of those. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of starting GunBail, where the idea came from, and where you're at right now, and why we're having this is, and we'll get into that here in a second, as far as the crowdfunding campaign and helping people being able to help make GunBail a reality.
Okay. Number one, I started a New Me Accelerator. About 3 years ago, I came up with GunBail. Okay. Personally, as a youth, I was involved in an unfortunate situation that resulted in the loss of life of a close friend and neighbor of mine. And it was accidental, but it still happened. And I attribute it to our access to guns at such a young age. So from that experience, I wanted to change and make sure that other children at that age, wouldn't repeatedly experience that. So I came up with GunBail about 3 years ago. And I thought, if we want to get the guns off the streets, we have to go to the individuals that actually have the guns. Individuals that have the guns, they aren't motivated to give their guns up. But when they're arrested, guns are no longer valuable to them, and they will value their freedom over their guns. So I came up with a plan. I attended the Silicon Valley Accelerator, New Me Accelerator, and I built out the software and the business model Since then, I returned to Baltimore because it's the epicenter of gun violence, one of the epicenters. And I entered the contest here. I've been accepted into Accelerate Baltimore. I was in Startup Maryland's finalist. I've been in a number of contests where I've won. The business model really has been supported here, as well as other cities that we're marketing to. And along that way, I met Ray Lewis, came on as a brand ambassador and the co-founder, which a lot of the members who were on our initial call, they got a chance to hear Ray. Jeff Hoffman, supports the program completely. And these guys are investors financially and socially. The key is that we are the only solution that removes the underlying problem safely and remotely. It's safe for law enforcement, it's safe for the individuals, and the incentive really is self-preservation. They will value their freedom over their guns, and they cannot shoot without the guns. We are also the only solution that outpaces the gun replenishment rate on the street. The arrest rate outpaces the violent crime rate. We could recover more guns faster than they can replace them on the street. And once that happens, the violence rate will begin to decline because the guns that are available in those random acts of violence won't be so readily available. And sometimes it takes a split second or a moment to diffuse a situation. And that's our goal. Our goal is to remove 5 million guns over the next 5 years out of at least 15 to 20 municipalities and reduce the gun violence by 20 to 30%. That's our goal. That's what we're seeking.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people to make sense of this is it's a supply and demand issue. If supply is high and there's easy access to the guns, the illegal guns, but guys, if we can dry up the supply, the access becomes less. And one of the things is in just a pricing model of if there's a lot of guns out on the street, illegal guns, then it's less expensive to purchase a gun. If we can dry up that supply, it becomes more expensive, which then takes those guns away from people that don't have the financial wherewithal, right, to buy a more expensive. So Trevor, when your incident happened, it was quite a while ago. What are the statistics show of the number of guns that are on the street today compared to when it happened with you? I mean, today there's a lot more illegal guns on the street, correct?
Yes. Well, my incident happened in 1991. It was almost 25 years ago, about 25 years ago. Statistic I read the other day says since 1994 that the number of illegal guns that are stolen every year have increased. So roughly, 300,000 to 600,000 are stolen every year. And then you have another few million that are that funnel their way into the streets through store buyers or other illicit means. It's hard to track the number because they are illegal guns and there's no research on gun violence. It's been a ban for 20 years. But the gun recovery rate, say it's easier to explain it like this. In Chicago, every year they confiscate through law enforcement means anywhere between 7,500 and 12,000 guns. Okay, 7,000-ish on up. In a lot of large cities, they are, but their gun recovery rate is like 0.016%, and that's a few thousand guns. Okay, these are the guns that the guys aren't trying to turn in. These are the guns that they're just happening upon, and it doesn't happen all that often for them to get to that number. When we have a population that is willingly surrendering them, Chicago, they hold thousands of people a day. Baltimore City holds 6,200 people a day in custody between the city and the county. Out of those 6,200 people, we know that over half of them, 55+% of them, have access to an illegal gun. If we're successful, we can remove hundreds to, in some cities, thousands of guns almost daily off of the street. That is going to affect the opportunity to use these guns in a random act of violence. They can't shoot without their guns. we will remove them because the arrest rate is so high in these cities. Every city that has high gun violence similarly has overcrowded jails. And
So now, you had mentioned Ray and Jeff Hoffman, one of the co-founders of Priceline.com. Who are some other people that are involved? I know Angela can maybe give us a little bit of her background and what she's done and her being involved in this thing, because she's an incredible woman. She's been all over the place. I mean, she's done what, 300 startups?
300
Tell us
plus.
about Angela.
Well, Angela Benton is who he's speaking of, and I can't say enough about Angela. Angela was the first person to hear my idea and thought that it was feasible, that it could work. Angela Benton's from New Me Accelerator. She deals with underrepresented entrepreneurs who aren't traditional tech companies. Angela has been the most influential and involved person in the building, the process, everything that goes with GunBail. I couldn't have done it with Angela. She has been the perfect coach and mentor. And from the moment I talked to her, she liked the program. And we've really built it out. I mean, like Peter said, in Baltimore alone, I'm in so many contests. We're getting a lot of recognition, but we have a lot of social capital. We're also seeking going next month for legislature for GunBail.
That's exciting. Now, tell us a little bit about that. So you've done some preliminary stuff. And so what you said about the middle of March, that legislation will actually take place. And then where do you go from there? When do you see the first pilot program taking off? And then where do you see GunBail going over the next 12 to 24 months?
Okay, well, over the next 12 to 24 months, the first pilot program is we are planning it for this summer in Baltimore. Of course, in March, we'll have the final dates on everything. But we're looking for 3 municipalities to start in 2017. And between those 3 municipalities, if we start by the summer, we're looking to do 205,000 or so transactions, meaning we move 205,000 guns out of those 3 municipalities in the latter 7 months of the year. Okay, so what that will look like is basically we're targeting definitely Baltimore, definitely LA, and we're targeting Chicago as well. If we're successful in that, like I said, we'll do 205,000 transactions. We estimate by the end of the year in those municipalities. So that's removing 205,000 guns and the money that we make along the way doing that.
So Trevor, tell us, because this is really important, is how much interest are you getting from the political side of things from, I think you had mentioned Kentucky and some other places and stuff, because that's really the will has to be there. So if the will of the people, support GunBail, we come behind, we help you get this funded, move this thing forward. What are the reactions from the politicians? And we know it's going well in Maryland because there's going to be legislation. But what about the rest of the country and some of the other people that you've talked to, governors, mayors, those type of people?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of politicians. The thing about GunBail is we're a category creator. So no one else in history has ever used free market enterprise to address the issue of gun violence or crime in this particular way. So politicians in the judiciary, particularly judges and law enforcement officials, are very interested in this because let's face it, the last 40 years, everything that we've tried over the last 40 years to prevent gun violence has not worked. I mean, we're going to lock people up, but the guns every year, more and more are just accumulated. They hardly, if ever, are recovered. So some of the guns that are committing the crimes of violence in our community, some of them have been in circulation for decades. They go from one hand to another. So any politician, 2 things he has to deal with: the cost of the budget because of the jail overcrowding, and of course, the social aspect from the communities, the outrage at all of the killings they have to answer for this. So of course they're looking for a solution. We have not gotten any negative feedback. Not one person said, no, we don't think that'll work. Every politician, every law enforcement, every police captain, everybody we've talked to have said the same thing. We have to figure out how we can implement this and how soon we can implement this.
Awesome. And one of the things I'd like to talk about right now is this is a solution that doesn't cost taxpayers any money, correct? So it takes the guns off the street. And I think you had just touched on it just a little bit about the cost of incarceration while people are waiting to go to trial, and the reduction in the budgets of being, reducing by saving taxpayers money in a couple of different ways. Why don't you explain that, how it costs, who pays for this to take place? And because I think that's amazing, a business solution that's actually going to save government money and be more effective than what's taken place so far.
Right. So basically, Baltimore City, I'm going to use that as a template. Baltimore City, it costs, somewhere between $72 to $132 a day per inmate. Okay. Close custody is normally around 130 some odd dollars. That's every inmate. They arrest every day. So when you take 6,200 inmates in the city and county times that, it starts to become an average daily burden. Okay. New York City and New Jersey, they're the highest. I think in New York City, it costs between $50,000 and $60,000 a year per inmate. In New Jersey, it's similarly that. LA, they're very high. When you take LA and they have 15,000 people in custody a day, times.
These are people that are waiting to go. They're not convicted at this point, right? They've just been arrested for a crime and they're waiting to go to court. Right. To see whether they're found innocent or guilty and move through that process, correct?
Right. And the thing about it is the Division of Corrections of this country holds 2.3 million people, right? But close to 12 million are arrested every year. So they have to let these individuals go eventually. So the vast majority of these individuals, probably 60% of them or more that are being held in these pretrial holdings, when they go to court, they're going to be released on probation or some kind of condition, okay? So what that says is they sit on the taxpayers' money for months and months, and then they're released. This is why there is a bail reform push in the country right now, nationwide, to combat these conditions. They havoc on municipal budgets, and it serves no purpose because everyone is innocent until proven guilty for that particular charge that they're arrested for. So the cost of savings is huge. And I might add, gun violence costs over $100 billion a year in the U.S. and the cost to treat it, which are the medical expenses. Most of those bills go to the cities. They have it on hospital budgets. Investigative for the city to keep hiring more and more officers to investigate in response to these crimes. The familial consequences, the loss of industry. For instance, the negative aspect, say in Baltimore, Chicago, Cleveland, I know that they've been trying to recruit businesses to Cleveland now in Detroit. One of the big barriers are the violence. Businesses don't see a market there because of the negative aspect of the violence that comes from gun violence. They're very, loss of industry is huge. Cost of housing, medical treatment, there are a ton of things, and GunBail, once we're operational, we're going to help with some of that. We want to donate a portion of our income or revenue to go back to help the rehabilitative services of children who have children survivors of gun violence, because we see all of these children, like we were just speaking of, that are dying. Some of them live, and the rehabilitative costs, a lot of them are low income. They don't have the cost to really go through the rehabilitation to live a regular life again. So we want to help in so many ways.
Well, it's incredible what you're doing, Trevor, and we thank you and commend you. You know, government can do a lot, right? The police, law enforcement, but they need help. They need businesses to step up and come up with solutions that can aid in what's going on here. I believe business can be a big part of saving a lot of the social issues that are out there. And we commend you. We applaud you at kulaBrands for coming up with this innovative and creative way of helping with getting guns off the street. And I know, me and you have talked. You've got some other business ideas that will help in some other areas where there's some social issues. So we're looking forward to working with you. Hopefully everybody reaches out and supports GunBail, guys. It is a phenomenal program that is going to work. So thank you for joining us today here on Facebook Live. Corey, would you like to say anything, buddy? Because I know
you say one thing, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor.
We do not charge the municipality to operate. We're free to operate for the municipality.
And that's so awesome, guys. Finally, there's something here that's going to solve a problem that's not going to cost everybody, taxpayers, money on a daily basis. I know they've tried so many things, the gun buybacks, these different things that come out of the budget, which are coming out of taxpayers' money to try and solve this issue. And the simple fact that here's a program that we can operate that will cost states and cities and municipalities zero. It allows the offenders to pay for the program to operate and run is tremendous in itself. So Corey, would you like to give any last statement, buddy? Or, would you like to say anything to the group?
Sure, man. Thank you. Trevor, first of all, thank you for everything you're doing, man. We really, from the heart, man, we appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Yeah, couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah, I salute you, man. And a lot of people out there are supporting you already. And, my philosophy in this world is to leave a footprint and make it a better place than what you came in for. And, what we're doing here is just that. We're saving lives. We're creating opportunities, rehabilitation, and man, we really just hearing your story, Trevor. I got teary-eyed, and it just hit me in the heart, man. And so many people have reached out to me that have lost brothers and sisters and daughters and sons, and I can't think of a better way to stand up and put your foot down and make your claim in the sand, and just, wow, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
So we also have Jan on here. Jan, why don't you give us your perspective a little bit, bud?
Well, my perspective is, Trevor, I'm just so grateful to you, really, for developing this solution to reduce the pain and the suffering that we're experiencing in this country and on our planet of, unnecessary death and pain and suffering in our communities. And I can't think of a better way to do it. It's a win for everybody involved. It's picking guns off the street. It's reducing financial burden on communities and cities. And it's bringing peace where, that might not have been possible otherwise. So I just
That's
really
awesome.
appreciate you and thank you for doing this and letting us help you.
Thank you, Jan. Hey, I love you, man. Thank you.
So Trevor, real quick, last thing for the live, and then we'll go ahead and let everybody go, and hopefully they'll decide to support it. So give people your last pitch for why they should support GunBail, and once it's activated, your promise to the community of how hard you're going to work and what you're doing. Because I know, just talking with you, I work pretty hard, but you're right there with me. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm talking to you at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Every day you are out pushing this. This is not a hobby for you. This is not this is for real, and every day. And so I appreciate that about you, buddy, is you've come up with this phenomenal idea, this concept that is just amazing. And I call it, it's like the Uber of this sector right here. That's how big I think this is. It's the difference is instead of just giving people rides, it's going to save lives out there in the out in society. But just give us your final pitch, buddy, and then we're going to call it a day on this Facebook Live. We appreciate you being here. The floor is yours, Trevor. Just go ahead and close us out, buddy.
Okay. You made a good point, Peter. The reason why people should support GunBail is you and I just had a conversation 10 minutes ago about an 8-year-old that was sadly killed recently. The reason why we need GunBail is because these incidents are directly correlated to the proliferation of illegal guns. The continued access to these guns make these random acts of violence so prevalent. Offenders cannot shoot without their guns, and they will value their freedom over their guns. And every day that we're not taking their guns off the streets, that we're not pushing this solution, more children are dying. This week alone, I think, through all of my contacts and with gun violence, this week alone, I heard at least 10 different children, 3 years old, 5 years old, 8-year-olds that were killed or shot. We have to do something. This situation undermines the fabric of the American dream to me. You know, you don't know if your children are going to not only be safe, if they're going to survive. And we can do something. People have not been able to come up with a solution. Now we have a solution, and we need to implement this. And every day that we don't, there are more deaths. You know, and it's sad. Look at cities like Chicago. The reason why Chicago can have 700 and some odd murders, Baltimore 300 and some odd, and so on and so on. Memphis, Detroit, Miami, kids are dying everywhere. And the reason is because of the access to these illegal guns, the proliferation of these illegal guns. Now we have a solution, and I work every day for it. Because if I can save one life, it'll never bring back the situation that I've gone through, but that's priceless. But I'm telling you, we can save hundreds and even thousands of lives every single year. And we can change the condition of these communities. You know, we can give these children hope. And that's all I want to do. I want to make it safe. And I want to save some of our children. And please help. Help us make a difference. They cannot shoot without the guns. They will value their freedom over their guns. Let's make a difference. And I promise you that I will remove the guns. Oh, we're going to get the guns. You know, we're going to change.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Trevor, for everything you're doing. Thank you, Facebook. We're going to have another one of these in a couple days, guys. We're hoping to bring on some people that have been affected by illegal guns and from shootings from these random acts. So we're getting with Trevor next Facebook Live, hopefully in the next couple of days. We'll be able to have a couple of the people that have been really affected in a major way, some of the moms on that have been affected. So keep an eye out for some more Facebook Lives that are going to take place. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Trevor, we'll talk soon, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, John.